I'm Nick Snow, watching Government for Oil and Gas Journal in Washington, D.C. Maybe it was because it was a presidential election year. Whatever the reason, words seemed to matter more than substance to Washington's energy policymakers in 2012. They also produced some good nominees for the Watchie, this column's annual salute to entertaining Washington moments of the past year. The trend clearly started in late 2011 when President Barack Obama and Interior Secretary Ken Salazar began describing their energy policies as an all-of-the-above strategy, nearly 3 years after congressional Republicans initially coined the phrase. It didn't matter much that the Obama administration's definition significantly differed from House and Senate Republicans. The phrase was too catchy to ignore, so the White House cheerfully began to use it too. Congressional Republicans wasted little time fuming at the administration's brass. Early in 2012, GOP leaders of the House Oversight and Government Affairs, Natural Resources, and Energy and Commerce committees began to cleverly note that the White House's idea of what constitutes all of the above generally wrote off fossil fuels for alternative and renewable energy sources. So the year's pithy rebuttal watchie goes to those GOP lawmakers who said that this all-of-the-above approach ignores all of the below. Darrell E. Issa of California, Fred Upton of Michigan, Doc Hastings of Washington, and others apparently recalled that they weren't able to similarly co-opt use it or lose it a few years earlier, and vowed not to make a similar mistake this time. The 112th Congress was as gridlocked on energy as it was on taxes. The GOP-controlled House passed a series of bills which the Senate's Democratic majority refused to consider. Representative Gene Green, a Democrat from Texas, earned a startling candor watchie during one Energy and Commerce subcommittee hearing when he observed that it would be refreshing if the House spent less time taking positions and concentrated more on enacting policies. Lawmakers weren't the only ones who appreciated catchy phrases. During the IHS Herald Energy Pacesetters Conference this fall, Lee Fuller, the Independent Petroleum Association of America's Vice President of Government Relations, wondered if unconventional natural gas development might have been more politically acceptable domestically if the enabling technology had been called water stimulation instead of hydraulic fracturing. But the 2012 phrase appropriation, which holds the most promise for 2013, occurred during a December interview for OGJ's upcoming Washington Oil and Gas Outlook feature. That was when Martin Edwards, the Interstate Natural Gas Association of America's Vice President for Legislative Affairs, recalled former U.S. Vice President Al Gore's calling global warming an inconvenient truth years ago. Edwards noted U.S. energy policymakers now face an unavoidable truth when it comes to the nation's significantly brighter resource outlook, particularly for gas, and its growing economic contribution. That said it all, and very well. That's Watching Government for this week. In Washington, I'm Nick Snow for Oil and Gas Journal.